If there is one concept within Germanische Heilkunde that has deeply transformed both my professional work and my personal life, it is the concept of the identity conflict. Before I discovered this work, I thought identity was primarily psychological. Questions like who am I? Where do I belong? How do other people see me? Do I matter? Am I enough? Seem like questions we explored through counseling, personal development, or spirituality. But Germanische Heilkunde invited me to consider something much deeper. What if our experience of identity also has a biological dimension? And that idea fascinated me. According to Germanische Heilkunde, specific conflict themes are associated with specific areas of the brain and with specific organs. One of those themes is identity, the ego. Suddenly, experiences that many of us have lived through began making much more sense to me. People who are bullied, who are laughed at, people who are humiliated, people who are rejected, people who feel like they don't fit in. Wondering whether they belong in their family, their workplace, their school, their community, or even in their own body. They can't be small experiences because for many people, they shape an entire lifetime. Identity isn't only about the labels we give ourselves. It's about mattering. It's about belonging. It's about knowing where we fit. It's about feeling accepted for who we are, being seen. And perhaps one of the deepest human fears is a fear that we don't belong anywhere at all. We feel isolated, abandoned, and rejected. One example that helped this concept become very real for me was a relationship that Germanische Heilkunde describes between identity conflict and conditions involving the rectal mucosa, such as hemorrhoids or anal fissures. Within this biological framework, these symptoms are associated with identity conflict. And sometimes, depending on laterality and handedness, the identity conflict can also trigger in the squamous epithelium lining of the digestive organs, such as the bile ducts, pancreatic ducts, the gallbladder, and the small curvature of the stomach. That doesn't mean that every person with hemorrhoids or with gastric issues has exactly the same story. Each person's experience is unique, but it does invite us to ask meaningful questions. Have I been feeling ashamed? Have I been questioning where I belong? Do I feel accepted? Do I feel seen? Why does my family keep laughing at me about this one thing over and over again? Why can they never forget that thing that I did that I am ashamed of? Am I struggling with how others perceive me? Those questions are often far more important than we realize. This concept has also become very personal for me. Identity conflict is one of the areas I continue working on in my own life. I can often recognize it when it has been activated. When I notice myself becoming overly concerned with how I'm perceived, when criticism affects me more deeply than I expect, when I feel misunderstood, when I feel like a victim. Those moments invite me to pause, not with judgment, but with curiosity and wonder. Because Germanische Heilkunde has taught me that awareness is the beginning of transformation. We cannot change what we do not recognize. The more I understood the identity conflict, the more compassion I developed, not only for myself, but for the people around me. Because every person you meet has a story. Every person has experienced moments of rejection, moments of shame, moments of wondering whether they belong or whether they're enough. And perhaps many of the behaviors that we judge most harshly are rooted in those invisible experiences. But identity is only one part of a family of conflicts called territorial conflicts. And these conflicts influence our families, our workplaces, our communities, and even entire nations. And understanding those conflicts completely changed the way I looked at human behavior.